It is now 1 o'clock in the 18th of May. We have just arrived in front of DGB, a union house where some of the people have gathered after yesterday's arrests. Just when we arrive, also the riot police is arriving in full gear to the other side of this yard. It seems that in many spots of the city there is a lot happening and that there is even more people than yesterday. Until now, the police has somehow tolerated the demonstrations of today, but there have also been some small kettles, and police has taken people to other sides of the city and told them to leave the city from the railway station. It is now 3 o'clock. We are in the walking street of Große Bockenheimer Straße, where we have arrived, evading the police checkpoints that are everywhere. In every street corner there seems to be at least 3 to 10 police, and all the plazas of this city are heavily policed. In this walking street there was a group of 50 people, 50 demonstrators who wanted to stay in the middle of the street. The police has surrounded them and takes all identification from them, goes through their possible registration of previous assaults, and then does arresting if he pleases. We are here in Große Bockenheimer Straße with Hedo, who was kettled and taken by the police. Could you explain briefly what happened here?
Ja, also wir saßen hier vor dem Maredo. Hier gab es eine Demonstration, weil die Mitarbeiter gefeuert wurden, ohne dass es große Gründe dafür gab. Und haben uns die Demonstration von Weitem angesehen, saßen hier auf dem Brunnen, wollten eigentlich nur shoppen gehen. Und ja, dann wurden wir von der Polizei festgehalten, ungefähr eine Dreiviertelstunde lang. Die haben Personalien überprüft und uns gefilmt und uns nicht gehen lassen, unsere Sachen durchsucht, obwohl wir hier nur friedlich auf dem Brunnen saßen, und uns als Schwerverbrecher eingestuft.
We are now in front of the European Central Bank. It's 15 minutes to 6, and I would like to ask you, Nadia, how do you see this situation? It's now pretty calm, quite peaceful now here in the city center. The police has blocked all the banking district. So would you give us a brief explanation of how you see the situation now?
Well, first of all, I'm very happy that there is this kind of counter-movement to the bank establishment. And I find it very good that there is a kind of transnational organization. I see many people coming from abroad just to solidarize with the Blockupy movement in Frankfurt. And this shows that there is some renewing of the leftists, not only in a theoretical perspective, also in a practical perspective. And I think it is very important that there is also the symbol that we are here and that we show that we won't give up our idea of having another and better society, and we should meet and discuss and use this movement as a platform for interacting and interchanging ideas.
As a person who works in a university, how do you see how is it going with the creation of a theory for this movement?
I mean, there has been this criticism about Occupy that they don't have any goals and no content, but I think that's a failed premise to start, because theory is always practice, and theory means to meet. And like Hannah Arendt, the great philosopher, said, to have power means to interact in a group. And we are, building groups, and we exchange ideas, and that is already part of the theory-making process. And as a scientist, I see myself not outside of the movement. I see myself also included in the movement, and I feel inspired. And I meet many people who have very interesting ideas, and I think that is the basic idea of democratic and critical practice, to interact and to think of what is an alternative mode to this exploiting system of capitalism, excluding more and more people, and also having this hierarchy in society where some people get more and more rich and others poor, and just to realize each other that we are growing is also, like, for terms of motivation, very important to continue in theorizing and thinking about a different world.
Maybe the problem is, or the accusation made to Occupy, that they don't have a theory, comes from people who think that a theory can only be created in universities, not on the streets.
Yeah, well, that's exactly the fails idea, I think, which is in the heads of some people doing theory. And also it makes a gap between the people who work in science. I mean, they're always accused of being far beyond and not knowing what are the real struggles in society. So there should be this close relationship. And I think both sides can learn from each other. And they are not really, like, both sides really divided. And so in the end, I think theory is also creativity, and creativity is something you cannot do when you sit in your room, and therefore, and also these, different experiences people are making now, coming from, the south of Europe, but also people coming from the north of Europe, solidarizing themselves with people in the south. I mean, this is already kind of, knowledge making and experiencing, which is very important to reflect on, and therefore scientists should not do the mistake to think theory is just something for philosophers in their high buildings.